All right, this is yesterday's leg day. Going into this, I was a little concerned for my lower back, as yesterday I hit the heaviest 5x5 on deadlifts that I've ever hit before at 335. But I made sure to wait till later in the day to train, as I wanted to get as much recovery time for my lower back as possible. And I also did some yoga before I went to go train. And I was actually really surprised with how my lower back felt when squatting, as I didn't really feel much pain. The whole day leading up to this workout, I had a little bit of tightness in my the lower right side of my back, and I was really worried about it. But I think that yoga definitely helped to loosen it out and get me in the right position. And as you guys know, with my squatting, I've been trying to really focus on building up a routine and consistency with my squat. So as you'll see, I squat the bar pretty similar to how I would be squatting my maximal loads for 5x5. This first 5 reps was high bar. There is a little bit of a butt wink, but I think that is just because I have a hard time with that dorsiflexion when wearing such flat shoes. Here is 5 with low bar. Looks a lot better, I think. But I'm definitely going to hold on to my Olympic weightlifting shoes for when I work high bar blocks again, as I think it really helps me get into a better position. So it's been about 7 months since I got back into lifting. And one thing that has been quite intriguing to me is the frequency of these heavy lifts. I remember when I was weight training back in my freshman year, I was able to hit a 5x5 maybe once a week tops, and it was even more rare with the deadlift. I actually remember a time where I worked a 5x5 at 265, which was a really heavy load for me at the time, and I was out for I think 3 weeks as my lower back was just insanely sore. And I really wondered how my lower back has been able to recover so much and so fast recently, with all this frequency and also a lot of volume. And my best guess for this would be just my body has adapted to high frequency with these heavy 5x5s over time, as well as a lot of volume. I've had to build up volume. I used to do a 5x5 and then maybe 1 or 2 accessories and be done. But now I'm doing anywhere from 3 to 4 accessories after my 5x5 and feel pretty fine when the next day rolls around. So the split that I've been following is just a 3-day split, just back and biceps, and then I'll hit legs. Sometimes I will do legs and core, but sometimes I'm pretty gassed after legs and won't hit core. I actually did end up hitting core today. And that's another thing I've been wondering about, is if I should even train my core directly, as there is some people, Justin Lee, I don't think trains core directly, and a lot of powerlifters don't. I do want to have a strong core for all these lifts. I don't really care about having abs. I just want to be able to brace right when doing my compound lifts. But anyway, so I hit back and biceps, then legs and core, then chest and triceps and shoulders. That's 3 muscle groups on my chest day, but bench has always been way less strenuous for me than deadlift and squat, so I'm always able to hit a lot more volume with those. So as you can see, 255 moved well, but that isn't to say that it wasn't a challenge. Here is my last set, I believe. And for the past 2 leg sessions, I've hit 255 for a 5x5, and it hasn't necessarily gotten any easier. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing in my next leg session. I might be hitting a 5x3 at 265, possibly 275. Might just hit another 5x5 at 255, or I might even deload a little bit, but I don't think I'll be doing that. So I've mentioned before that I'm a huge fan of auto-regulation and not necessarily pushing yourself when it isn't a smart idea. But there's really a fine line, I believe, with this, or at least in my situation, as I do believe that I have a lot of noob gains to be made. Here you can see me hitting pin squats. Ivan Jurek does these. I did 3 sets of 5 at 365, as I didn't want to do too much volume, as I still have the rest of the leg workout to go. As I was saying, Ivan Jurek does these a lot to kind of hyperstimulate his central nervous system, and it gets your body ready for these more maximum loads. And I do think that it kind of brings you to squatting these heavier weights sooner, but if anything, it gets you really good at walking out these heavy loads. It's always crazy for me to do these pin squats, especially at these really heavy weights, as I always never can expect what they're going to feel like. If I've never touched 365 before and I go and hit it for 3 sets of 5 like this, the second I unrack that weight, my body is just shocked by how much load it has to bear, and that makes me force myself to have to brace better and harder, which helps me with my other lifts as well. So after my squatting, I went over to hip thrusters and hit 3 sets of 12 with 3 plates. I'm thinking I might go up to 3 sets of 15 with these, or I might even just add weight and go down to 3 sets of 8, but I don't want to bring the rep range that low. I think I want to stay at 10 or above it. but I guess we'll just have to wait till the next leg day and see how I'm feeling. The last set of these hip thrusters was very hard for me. I think that the last 3 or 4 moved pretty slow, but this was the first set. Then I headed over to 3 sets of 10 with 4 plates on the leg press. I want to move up in weight with these, but I think I'm going to be working with 4 plates for a week or 2, and then maybe add a 25, but I'm not too sure yet. One thing I'd like to mention about the leg press is that for me to progress, I had to learn to really kind of tighten my lower back, because I used to get these really bad lower back pumps from these. I'm not sure why. I'd get them with hip thrusters as well, but after hip thrusters, I'd come over here, and then I would just get a killer back pump. It would be on fire, and I would try to stretch it out, but it would just feel like almost a cramp, just a constant like pull on my lower back. But after really learning how to kind of tighten my lower back and brace for it, I haven't had it since. So I know it doesn't really look like it, but in this session, the gym was pretty packed, and so I was only able to hit 4 sets of 10 with calf raises. But I did it at a relatively moderate weight and was going for a very long stretch and then rocket it up, kind of like how I do chest flies. I feel that I've always had relatively decent calf genetics, and they respond pretty well to training. I've only ever done calf raises. I don't train my anterior tibial muscle, kind of like that shin muscle in the front of your leg. I wonder if I should. I know bodybuilders do, but I don't think it's really going to help me with any of my compounds. And I'm always fighting to fit certain workouts into my leg day, as like I mentioned in an earlier video, I either get gassed out or I don't have enough time. So I hit 5 sets of 12 on the quad curls, and then I went over to hamstring curls that you're seeing right now, really focusing on the eccentric portion and then rocketing it up. I did 5 sets of 10 with this, but I always get a crazy pump in my hamstrings after this. One thing that I have wanted to incorporate in my training for a while is elevated dumbbell RDLs. It doesn't even have to be with a dumbbell, but I do worry that that might affect, I might get DOMs, and RDL is similar motion to a deadlift, so I don't want to mess with my deadlift. So really quick, I just want to say that when I say DOMs, I'm referring to the acronym, delayed onset muscle soreness. So it's really just muscle soreness. And on the very rare occasion that I am not gassed out after a leg day, I will hit these I think they're adductors. I'm not totally sure. But I think that they really help with adding hypertrophy to my workout and overall just leg size. With this machine, I did 5 sets of 15, going both ways. On this, going out for my outer glute, and then before, you guys saw me going in for my inner thigh. After this, I finished with some light jump roping. If you guys have noticed in my last couple videos, I've been wearing these Chuck Taylors. I decided to try them out the other day on my leg day, and I have just fallen in love with these. I really love how I jump rope with them. I love how they feel when I'm deadlifting and squatting. I think I'm just going to wear them in the gym at all times at this point. But that's going to be it for today's video. I thank all of you guys that stuck around till the end. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. And if you really enjoyed this video, subscribe and share with your friends. I appreciate it.